to the chaos that is this GTNH playthrough. Not too much has happened between episodes. As you'll have seen from the clips, my silverwood tree grew, and it did make a magical forest biome, so the sink in my kitchen is now plumbed in. I've been dicking about with GTNH, and that is a pretty good time. It's very chill, it's very easy to get something max statted once you know how to do it, so a bit later in this episode I'll be going over what I learned there. In other news, 2.9's first beta release was announced last week on the GTNH Discord, so that means there's hopefully going to be less need to change versions around. Because of that reason, I'm now running this world from a server. For now, I'm shutting server down when I'm not playing, but as we get more long-running or passive processes online, I have the option to leave those running while I'm off doing something else. Let's see what we're going to do today. So one of the first things I need to look at is the fact that we are not producing enough creosote to keep this boiler running at full efficiency. It is running, it's topping itself up ever so often, but it's not getting to full temperature, which means it's not getting to full efficiency. The reason is not enough creosote is coming through. It's not that there's not enough wood is backed up. So we need more coke ovens to be able to send the creosote through. Oh, that's an interesting little visual glitch there. Yeah, so we're looking at getting some more coke ovens. I want to get a multi-alloy smelter that we didn't do last time, and then use that to get us even more coke ovens. So if you remember from the Stone Age, making coke oven bricks was a bit of a palaver. You have to combine sand and clay around a brick form and then smelt it. With steam, we can just alloy smelt together sand and clay. Now I could do it in the single block, but we're going to need a lot of bricks, so I really want to get this alloy smelter up and running, and it'll be useful for other things as well. Aha! Now we have an assembling machine. We don't need to deal with this bullshit anymore. We can just go with this recipe. Something to watch out for when making the steam fuser is this glass on the side. The schematic has it as borosilicate glass that we can't make yet. But you can use any HV tier glass, and you might think, wait a second, we're not in HV. However, any glass can be chiselled into quite clear glass, which is HV tier, so we'll use that. Let's see how this goes. I'm not sure our steam production will keep up. There will be quite a buffer in the large bronze tanks, sorry, the large bronze pipes, but so far so good. I'll leave that running a little while. Okay, so this recipe is using 1400 litres per second of steam, and our steam production is keeping up. This is fine. We'll check it with a heavier recipe in a moment. Alright, let's see how we do with the red alloy recipe. This is 3000 litres per second of steam being used. Pipe should be up to it, although I probably couldn't do something else at the same time. Well, for a short run at least, that's fine. Oh no. It's a blood moon. Well, this is going to be a fun night. I guess I could just try and keep working on this thing. Oh shit. Maybe not. I'm going to check for dark spots. Okay, well, sorry to disappoint anyone hoping to watch me die a grisly death. I don't enjoy that very much, so I'm not going out there. I will see you in the morning. Alright, when you just look at this glorious monstrosity, actually don't look at it, it's kind of gross. But anyway, we're building up now a backlog of creosote, which means we will have some spare for LV machines. Okay, welcome back. What I'd like to do here is show you how I was setting up crops. So there's a few things that you need to get started. First off, you're going to need some seeds. So I just got these by harvesting some wheat from a village, and then you can get seeds that way. I would suggest making the spade as soon as you can. It's quite expensive on steel, but it's a hoe that doesn't have any durability. It's very useful like that. And also make the plant lens as well. This is gettable in the Stone Age. Very simple recipe. This glass lens just needs a diamond and some flint and some glass. Well worth making it if you're looking to get into crops early. Crop sticks, again, necessary. They're not too bad to make. They get a bit cheaper the further you progress. You can also buy them from the vending machine for not too much money. Fertiliser, you get a bit from the quest book. You also get crop sticks from the quest book as well. And again, you can buy it from the vending machine, and once you get a chemical reactor up and running, you can make it yourself. So what I'm going to do is pop these crop sticks down. I'm going to pop our seed onto them. Okay, and we can see now this is 111. What we want to do is fertilise it. What the fertiliser does is make sure that any offspring that it has cannot drop in any of their stats. Oh, I forgot to mention, you also want a watering can when you can get it. If you've not made one of these before, they start off empty, so all you need to do is just click them onto a water block to fill them up, and then they're full forever. And from there we can see the water stat on our crop square going up there, so it's nice and watered now. Alright, so the wheat has fully grown. We can see that it's 111. What I'm going to do is give it some fertiliser. Try and give it some fertiliser. There we go. And you'll see the fertiliser's gone up to 100%. While that crop is fertilised, any offspring it produces cannot drop their stats, so fertiliser is really important. What we can do is pop a double crop stick here, or here, or here. Basically, the more you have, the more choices you'll have from the roll of the dice. The more dice rolls you get, really, from what's coming off this guy. Alright, that was very quick. We have some unknown seeds. Now we can use our plant lens to see what stats they have. So 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's have a look at these. 1, 1, 1. Okay. Now, you can get weeds from time to time, so it is always worth, unless you're running a crop manager with weed X in it, it is worth hanging around and keeping an eye out for weeds. Because just like IC2 crops, weeds will ruin your crop eventually. Alright, so that one's 1, 4, 1. So of all of those, it's very difficult to tell actually. Probably this one, because of the rising growth. But that does bring me on to my next point, which is you want to try and keep growth and resistance as close together as you can. It doesn't matter so early on at this stage, it's fine. The growth is a little bit ahead of resistance, but once you get up to 24, you're going to start getting the same weeds effect as you would get with IC2 crops. You pop some out, because these ones I had some trouble with, and these ones I think I will have trouble with. So let's see how these do, and I'll see if I can show you what happens when they're unbalanced. Okay, so this child lemon tree here has a growth of 25 and a resistance of 17, and what we're starting to see is these coming up here, this tall grass, and it's probably caused those weeds as well. And if I leave it, it might become sick, and if it becomes sick, it will make plants adjacent to it sick. Once you start sort of getting to about, I don't know, high teens, early 20s of growth, you really want to be making sure that your resistance is matching it or is above it. And if that's the case, then you shouldn't have these problems. But always watch out for sort of grass cropping up and weeds cropping up very quickly. That's a sign that you're possibly a little bit unbalanced. Okay, so this wheat has grown up now, and this is the one we want to keep. And what I want to do is reuse these sticks. They've still got a bit of fertiliser on them. So what we do is hold Shift and left click. That clears the stick without breaking it, which means we can now put another crossbreeder on it and see what comes next. And that's really all you do. You try and maximise your dice rolls when you can, watch out for your resistance, and eventually you'll get 31, 31, 31. It took me probably about 2 hours, but I was dicking around and figuring stuff out. It probably doesn't need to take that long at all. I'll show you what I actually bothered to stat up. I got these trees, these bonsai trees, so these are what's feeding the coke ovens down below. I have some papyrus for paper. I have some wild carrots because I was trying to get some things from the food pool. Let's just actually bring that up here so you can see it. If we look at the pools, so if you crossbreed a carrot with itself, you can get a chance at all of these different seeds. Now, I'm being a bit of an idiot here. I've only got like one dice roll going on here, so surprise, surprise, I'm only getting a handful of the most obvious things, or the most common things that are highest up in the weighting. Same for these flowers as well. So to maximise what you get from the pools, you actually need a somewhat bigger farm. I think it's probably a 5x5 or something like that in a checkerboard to give you maximum chances. Of course, you do want to keep an eye on how much fertiliser you're using as well, though. So it's just a balancing act there. And what else have I got? These are also my 31s. I did get sticky reeds quite early on, so that was an absolute winner. That's going to basically solve rubber for me. got a few flowers. Nothing else. Sugar beets, yep, they're going to be very handy later on. Cotton, very handy later on. And hemp, whatever. It's just bits and bobs and things we can crossbreed from as we go. Alright, so it looks like we've got an offspring here. Let's have a look at it. 7, 2, 1. So again, it's still not high enough growth to be a problem, but on the next couple of rounds I would be prioritising resistance over growth. Alright, next let's look at some changes I've made to the base. First of all, you'll notice these LV machines have gone. I tarted up the kitchen. I think it looks alright, I suppose. Don't love it, I don't hate it either. And in a similar vein, this room down here is where LV's going to be for now. I have the semi-fluid generator here. Again, I'm just putting cells in it to keep it going, but the creosote is being made round about here, so it should be fairly easy just to drop a pipe in and keep that going. Okay, so looking back at the to-do list, the next thing I want to do is the voiding drop filter. Now, if I look at the recipe for that, you can see we're going to need liquid ender, so we need ender pearl and we need a way to liquefy them. And actually, if you look at the quest book, this is laid out reasonably well. You can see that this molten redstone is a prerequisite of this quest here. So we'll be making this fluid extractor next. I forgot to hit record, but here's my fluid extractor. Next we need some ender pearl, and what I'm going to do is use the vending machine. 2 enderman eggs, there we go. Next I need a pan cast, which I might have already, I do. Let's grab some stone. Oh, and I need to make sure we've got some brass. We do. Right, so where's the part builder? Here we go. Ah, there's already some stone in there, never mind. So a stone pan. A brass ingot. I'll throw a little bit of extra tin in there. Okay, that's our pan cast for the fun bit. This is blocked off at the top, I believe it is anyway, let me just double check. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff up there to stop him seeing the sky. Now I'm not going to try and do the Eternal Enderman thing yet. That's where you get one with regenerating health, and you name tag him, and then you have ender pearls forevermore. Don't have a name tag handy. I could make one, now I've got an assembling machine, but more importantly I don't have a soul file to store him in. So we'll just one-shot this and see how we go. Hopefully I don't get my one-shot at a regenerating one straight away. So the molten tin is what's hurting him, so it's important that that's there. And I've disabled the redstone clock because I don't want the tin coming out. There he goes, okay. And now we can just cast out some ender pearls. Let's see if we can do another one. Yeah, it looks like there's actually a item ender pearl in there as well, so I'll grab that in a second. I'm probably going to take a little bit of damage here as well, but yep, there we go. No worries. Oh, and now we have some blood. Wonderful. Well, that's actually quite handy because that won't cast out automatically. So it's actually quite handy to have when we've got redstone clock automation on the smeltery as well. So it won't come out into the pan, it'll act as a blocker. And then when everything's stacked up like this, so if I put the blood at the bottom, it won't come out. And now I can probably turn this back on, I think. Let's see. Yeah, so the blood's acting as a blocker and the tin's not coming out. That's exactly what I wanted. And now we have some ender pearls. Alrighty. So now our voiding drop filter needs 250 liquid ender, which in a fluid extractor I think is 1 ender pearl. Yes, it is. And we need another ender pearl for this trash can, and iron plates. That's easy enough. Let me grab those. Now I need to get this into the assembly machine. I don't have any cells handy, but I can use fluid auto output and shift click. This is new for 2.9, I think. Choose the side, and now we have it in our assembly machine, which is nice. And it was number 1, wasn't it? There we go. 15 seconds. And there's our voiding drop filter. And what do I want from this? Empty cells are always good at this point in the game. Loot bag. Vacuum tubes are expensive, but not that difficult to make. I think I'll go for the cells for this one. So the way this works now is I can set what to filter. In fact, let me just sleep quickly. So I can set what I want to filter, which at the moment is probably cobblestone. Probably want to keep deep slate on for the moment. This stuff can definitely get ditched. Netherrack, I've got plenty of that. Gravel and dirt, I do still want to keep collecting that for the time being, I think. Alright, so netherrack, cobble. Let's do that, put that in there. And now, if I drop this cobblestone, in fact, let me just make sure I don't have any in my bag. I don't. So I drop this cobblestone, pick it up. It's not in my inventory. It didn't go into the bag. Perfect. That's so satisfying. And not in the nick of time. We're getting really low on iron. And even lower on tin. Alright, well I'm off to do a spot of mining. So something I noticed while I was mining was that for optimum quality of life, I really need an excavator. Or excavator. Either will do, I suppose. But I'm just going to whip one of those up really quick. Not entirely sure why this isn't building me at all. It might be the tool rod it doesn't like. I'll try to steal one. Yes, there we go. Okay. Not the most amazing tool I've ever made, but it will definitely do. Oh yeah, that's a lot more quality of life, isn't it? It'll need a bit of use before we can get some redstone on it, but that's okay. So I was mining and I saw one of these guys on the map. This is probably going to go poorly. Okay, so most of the loot that we got from the loot game is... oh, not my backpack. Is meh, but we did get a division sigil, so that's awesome. And a copter pack, which is absolutely fantastic. A little bit of steel here basically, because I've already built all these. And some extra storage. Yeah, so not bad. Not the best, but a couple of things to get quite excited about. Alright, so just to show why I'm quite so excited to have found a copter pack, these things can run on creosote. Now, it doesn't last very long, they burn through it real quick, but you can have flight in LV. So I can use the copter pack to get some height, and then my hang glider to travel. And re-engage the copter pack to get some more height. But as you can see, it goes through the fuel pretty quick. Alright, so I think that wraps it up for this episode. We got quite a lot done. Even though it wasn't, real progress, we found some awesome loot. We'll see if we can do something with that division sigil next episode. And I think I'll also probably try and make a little bit of LV progress as well. See you then!